Here are your Court News Ohio top stories in 5 minutes. Nearly 600 people completed their years-long journeys to become lawyers when they were admitted to the state bar last Tuesday. Emotions ran high for the newly minted attorneys as they received professional.
Many are yearning for civility, unity, peace,
and personal words of wisdom.
Strike a balance early in your career that incorporates time with loved ones.
From Ohio Supreme Court Chief Justice Maureen O'Connor and Senior Justice Terrence O'Donnell. The newest members of the Ohio Bar were then sworn in as they took their oaths and accepted their certificates to practice from all the justices.
This has been a long time in the making for me. I took the bar exam. This was my 3rd time.
And I knew one day I was going to go to law school, had the opportunity, and at 46 years old, I graduated and passed the Ohio bar exam.
They came from all corners of the U.S.
Traveling quite a distance to get here was very meaningful.
To inform.
That's why it's still here.
To discuss.
Things ain't getting better.
And to share. Representatives from Guam all the way to Puerto Rico traveled to the Thomas J. Moyer Ohio Judicial Center to talk about domestic violence in their court systems.
You never know who victim or who a petitioner may be.
And how they can help victims get justice.
We've made a lot of assumptions over the years as to why people who experience domestic violence, why they stay, why they make the decisions that we don't think are consistent with someone who needs help. And we need to do a better job of training our staff and the people we come in contact with these nuances.
Organized by the Center for Court Innovation as part of a pilot program, court personnel were broken into several small groups where attendees quickly realized their experiences weren't exclusive to their courts.
It doesn't matter the difference in language, in culture, in the way maybe people are raised, they are color, race, it's the same issue everywhere.
Along with listening to insights from different jurisdictions.
So you're dealing with those people out of the courtroom as well.
These delegates learned how they can better empathize with victims.
Understanding why the victim does what the victim does before they make the choice to come and seek protection from the court was an eye-opener.
The 3-day summit embarked on various scenarios they haven't experienced before. Experts say domestic violence is tricky.
Domestic violence is a very difficult problem, and we don't want to come and say, oh, we've got all the answers. These are problems, and how can we work through them together?
Centuries ago,
not take the place of what you advocate, but facilitate the shift of power.
An exchange of ideas like this laid the groundwork for this country.
It would probably change the way certainly lawyers behaved and the way society worked.
That foundation, comprised of state leaders, helped create the United States Constitution.
All of the rights, the constitutional rights we Americans prize so greatly, originate in the state constitutions. So the rights like free speech, protections against unreasonable search and seizure, equal protection, due process.
A forgotten fact, according to U.S. Sixth Circuit Court Judge Jeff Sutton. So much so, he's teaching the subject as an adjunct professor at Ohio State's Moritz College of Law, and now as an author of a new book on the topic. He and Ohio Supreme Court Justice Judith French talked about the importance of state constitutions and courts utilizing them recently at a Columbus Metropolitan Club event.
Ohio lawyers really need to step up and present those questions and tell us why the Ohio Constitution is different in some way than the federal Constitution and how we should apply it in a particular place.
Both Justice French and Judge Sutton worked together under State Attorney General Betty Montgomery. His book shines a light on all that state laws and legislatures do to impact lives locally.
It's dangerous to think that everything is good or that we really care about must be protected in some constitution. Some rights are best protected by legislatures or in local communities.
Having ruled on a wide array of cases throughout her career, Justice French agrees that the most sensible approach for Ohio and the rest of the country is to utilize the laws that each state has established as an added resource.
You can't just rely on the United States Supreme Court, where you have complex problems, whether it's about school funding, the equality of funding, whatever the issue is, that it's really better to have 51 solutions.
And that's a look at Court News Ohio's top stories. Visit courtnewsohio.gov for the latest headlines on Ohio's courts. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter.